And welcome to the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show on audiosportsonline.net. I'm your host, Brian Scott. We are at the McDonald's and Avon on 267, just right on US 36, as the 2013 season kickoff this week with high school football getting underway. My name is Brian Scott. I'll be your host each and every week here on the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show. My guest this week will be Avon Orioles football head coach Mark Blest, offensive lineman Jake Higginbotham, and Avon High School athletic director Brad Holsinger. The McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show is brought to you by our sponsor, McDonald's, College Prospects of America, and BMO Harris Bank. You can watch a video podcast of the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show every Thursday. Go to audiosportsonline.net, click on the McDonald's Sports Show link. That'll take you right to the podcast. You can also listen to the sports show on xrbradio.com and in Brownsburg on 1610 AM XRB. Those are on Fridays at 5:30, from 5:30 to 6:30, right before Brownsburg High School football, and that's on xrbradio.com. I'm joined by the head coach of the Avon Oriole football team, and that is Mr. Mark Blest. Coach, how you doing today?
Good. We had a good practice today. It was a little warm, but apologize if the voice is a little more hoarse than normal.
But ready to go.
Ready to go, yes.
The team comes in after a 7-5 record last year. You start off 3-0. And one of those seasons that had some good wins, had some not-so-great losses, got to see some kids, especially in that second half of the season. We'll talk about that you're probably going to look for more this season. But for the fourth straight year, the Orioles make it to a sectional championship game. And while it not quite the results you would have liked to have seen, kind of a mixed year, but some good positives in it as well.
Right. I think you hit the nail on the head. It was an up-and-down year. Starting the season off 3-0, we had a big win last year over HSC on a last-second field goal. And then, off to a 3-0 start, you feel pretty good about things, and we suffered some injuries. And I think when you lose some key players due to injuries, it's kind of difficult to recover, and we went through a little bit of a slump. Fortunately, we were able to dig ourselves out a little bit and got on a pretty good track. And then, as you said, we did manage to play for a sectional championship and got outplayed by a very good team that night in Pike. But all in all, I think it was a very good season for some of the adversity that we suffered.
You returned 6 offensive starters this season, 9 on the defensive side. It seems like all your losses, though, this year were all going to come to what we would call big playmakers. A little bit of chest thumping for yourself and the Avon Oriole program. You do send 3 players to D1. Of course, Elijah Daniels went to Auburn. Cole Johnson, your quarterback and defensive back, he goes to Northwestern. And Chase Alexander, an offensive lineman, he heads to Indiana. So a big step and a big showing of how well this program is progressing.
That's true. And we can add one more to the list. Jalen Edwards qualified late, and Southern Illinois offered him scholarship, and Jalen's there now. So, we are thrilled and happy to be able to help our athletes go to the next level and be able to continue their education as well as opportunity to play football.
You mentioned Jalen Edwards, and like I said, some of the players you lost, big playmakers. We talk about Dane Thomas, Matt Patustik, Ryan Stinnett, Jalen Edwards, of course, and Devin Michael. But you also got some guys coming back this year, and I think one of the things that most fans want to know is who is going to be under center come Friday night?
Yeah, that's a good question. All summer I think both Richie Steinmetz and Brandon Peters did a great job of doing what they need to do to progress. They worked very well together. Listening to our coaching staff, especially Coach Moore, our quarterback coach, did a nice job working with them, and we split equal time. And even last week, all the way up to the scrimmage at Ben Davis, I thought both quarterbacks performed well. We just need to make sure we find the right guy to start the season. I think last year we tried the experiment with Richie and Cole, and it probably didn't work as well as what we would have hoped. So I think this year we probably tried to name a guy and go with that guy.
course, Richie got, as you mentioned, some time last year. He'll come in as the senior. Got a few snaps as a sophomore, got more playing time as a junior. You also have coming back, running back Derek Tennant. He rushed for over 488 yards last season. And then two of the players I saw as the season progressed last year that I thought you probably really looked as a bright spot were Cress Kimbrough and Sam Bloom. They'll both be back on the offensive side of the ball this year.
Absolutely. We really like our receiving core led by Cress. Cress is a big play potential type of guy, and he's really getting a nice knack of being a big-time receiver. Sam Bloom did a great job for us last year. We threw him in at tight end, and he was a little undersized for tight end, but really understands body leverage and separation, which is going to make him a very good slot receiver for us. And then you throw in Nick Aitchen, who's got great speed, and Cole Wrightley, who's got some wiggle to him too. Those are a receiving core, and then we got two tight ends that are very solid, Logan White and Matt Moore, junior and a sophomore. We really like what they give us. Running the ball, Tennant won't be available for us until week 5. He'll be out of commission until then due to suspension. And we'll have Tywan Johnson, David Shaw, and we'll still David Griffith a little bit from defense, and David will help get us some reps as well.
You talk about using a lot of wide receivers. At times you run a fullback, tailback setup. You see more going to a single back, or should we still see a lot of fullback, tailback?
No, we still believe we got to be able to run the ball to have success. We'll have a one-back set or two where, we'll be able to run the ball as well, but, it's going to help us in the throw department. But we'll primarily be our two-back set, but we'll, at times line up in a one-back.
Last year you had Jalen Edwards and Devin Michaels, two real good speedsters. We saw a lot of flanker screens, split-end screens, and things like that, trying to get them the ball and let them get out in space and create some. Do you see maybe going down the field a little more, or do you still have that speed where we can still expect some of those type of plays?
Well, I really think we have a pretty good mix. With some of the receiving core that we have, we've got the threat to go deep. We've got across the middle routes. And bodies to be able to run that kind of a route. So we feel like we're a pretty good mix. Our screen game has always been very productive. So I like where we're at with our offense right now.
Of course, we talk about all the skill sets. It doesn't. Nothing happens without the big offensive line. You've brought senior offensive lineman, a 3-year starter, Jake Higginbotham here. We'll be talking to him later in the show, but it all comes down to what the big guys can do down front.
Exactly. You're so right on that. And I just met with Jake this morning, talk about, his role with our offensive line, and we kind of go as our offensive line takes us. And Jake's going to be a big leader with that group. We moved him from a 2-year starter at guard to center this year, and he's really come into his own to play center. We also have a 2-year starter at tackle, Ryan Willis. Also, the other tackle, Angelo Allen. And then Zach Ryan, a 2-year starter as well, junior. And then at our other guard spot, we're kind of having a little bit of a rotation right now between senior Ryan Belden and junior Ross Carter. So, we've got a little bit of depth. We've got some experience up front, so I think if they can stay healthy and keep working together, we can be pretty solid up there.
Defensively, you lose Elijah Daniels, but you do bring 9 starters back on a very good defense. You lose, as we mentioned, Cole Johnson and Dane Thomas, but you've got one of the best back there in David Griffith.
Yeah, we do. And I think we found out how valuable he was last year when he went down with a season-ending injury. He's a guy that's like a player coach on the field. He's there to make plays, but he's also coaching to make sure we get the correct alignments and adjustments. And, he's to me, he's a Division I defensive back.
David Griffith last year, you mentioned he got hurt. And when you talk about the ups and downs of your program, it was that night at Lucas Oil Stadium against Zionsville. And things kind of did take, as you said, that turn right after that.
You're right. It was at Lucas Oil, but it was against Fishers.
Or Fishers, pardon me.
Mid-season game. And, it's kind of when we hit a little bit of a roadblock. And 2 weeks prior to that, we lost Zach Williams, our Mike linebacker, and he's back looking good. But you were mentioning in the secondary, We got some players with some experience. Ryan Bradley is a starter back there at corner. Gabe Laxton's also started some last year for us towards the end of the season. And then Nick Hanlon also got some action. So we feel like we've got some experience. But, as long as we've got, number 32 back there to help us, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Laxton started late in the season, did provide some really good coverage out there in the defensive backs. And then up front, of course, you've got Chad Skaggs, Mac Duffin, and T.J. Wilson. Skaggs and Duffin especially were very impressive toward the end of last year.
Yes. And Skaggs did a tremendous job for us by switching from our tight end position last year. We needed a little more athletic ability across from Elijah. And Chad really stepped up and did a great job filling that void for us, playing defensive end. We also have Joe Belden running the other defensive end. And Joe so far has had a very good offseason, and I think he's going to be a big contributor to getting pressure on the quarterback. In the middle, you throw in Mac Duffin. Mac's already verbally committed to Miami of Ohio, and he's had a great summer. And then Isaiah Robinson. So we feel like we've got a good front seven. We'll also rotate Roshan Brent in at defensive end, and he's capable of playing inside or outside. But we really like our front seven. Linebackers, T.J. Wilson, 2-year starter, Chad Piatek, and Zach Williams.
This year we talk about offense and defense. Last year you had a very strong special team, and it all comes right down to your place kicker and kickoff man, Niles Edwards. We're going to talk about this Hamilton Southeastern game. Niles came up with some big kicks, of course, giving the winning boot in the game against Hamilton Southeastern and also propelling you into the sectional championship game with that kick against Terre Haute South. But he's been a very, very solid contributor for your team for the past several years.
He has, and, he's proven to be a clutch player for us. As a sophomore, his kicking duties was just the punt, and he did a tremendous job giving us field position advantage. And then as a junior last year, had the opportunity to be our kicker as well. And, like you said, he won 2 big games for us on last-second kicks. And you like to have a guy like that back there.
You had a very good running kickoff return on both punts and kickoffs. Of course, Dane Thomas, Devin Michael, they were a big part of that. Got a few scores off of that game. Who can we expect to see back there returning kicks this year?
Well, right now we think on the kickoff return, probably Cress Kimbrough and Nick Ancient. Cole Riley may help us out a little bit there. And then in the punt return game, David Griffith, who also had a punt return for a score against HSC last year, and probably Ryan Bradley. Both guys that have played baseball or play baseball that know how to field, play center field and locate a ball coming out of the lights. So that's our number one priority, is making sure we don't let that ball bounce around on punts. And whatever we get, we get. So.
As you mentioned earlier this week on the Mark Bless Coaches Podcast, which you can hear every Monday on audiosportsonline.net, as Coach Bless and Rob Kendall talk about, especially next week, what happened last week, what will happen this week. A little bit maybe of a change. Last year you ran a lot of a 3-3 stack, and then as the season progressed, I started seeing a lot more 4-3, putting 4 men on the line, sometimes even going like a 5-2. Do you expect to stay with the 3-3 more or maybe develop more of a 4-3?
We still look at our 3-3 stack as our base defense, and everything comes out of our base. And, as you mentioned, we had the flexibility to get into a 4-3, a 5-2 look. And, yes, I think you'll see us more in a 4-3 and a 5-2 look because our personnel fits it better this year.
Well, we all get this underway on Friday night when the Avon Orioles travel to Hamilton Southeastern. You talked about on your coach's podcast, the schedule is what the schedule is. And to have to start against what is currently the 9th-ranked team in Class 6A, that is a tough matchup. But you got the win last year at home, 17-14, as Niles Edwards hit a 25-yard field goal with 6 seconds remain. Last year, big plays were a big part of that game. When you play a Scott May Hamilton Southeastern team, they take advantage of opportunities, and they're just fundamentally sound. Last year, you didn't have to face Ryan Ripp, but it seems like it's been forever since Southeastern didn't have a Ripp in the backfield.
Right. We've been watching the film from last year because you don't have a whole lot to go from. You know, you've got a few plays in a scrimmage, and you got their game from last year that we traded, and then you've got our game, which was 360 days ago. But looking back and watching kind of the rhythm of that game, you know, we took the opening drive and had a nice possession drive right down the field. Cole threw a nice strike to, I believe it was Matt Patustak for the first score, and everything went according to plan. And then, you know, we may have gotten the ball back early in the next possession, and then it became a typical first game where there's mistakes made, some schemes maybe not blocked correctly, a couple of big plays here and there, a turnover, and then it comes down to special teams play. And I think that, you know, in a first game type like that, you got to play smart, you got to play physical, and you got to have great special teams play to win the first game.
You saw, as I mentioned, Hamilton Southeastern's tailback last year, Ryan Ripp. He was unavailable for the game against the Orioles, but you did get to see a lot of Hunter Hardy, and you're going to expect to see him with carrying the ball Friday night.
That's true. And 2 years ago, we saw the Croc, and he runs the ball really well too. So we know we got our hands full in the run department, trying to stop the run. And, you know, it's a good challenge for us right out of the gates.
And you're going to have your hands full in the secondary as they're going to get very talented flanker Cameron Polk.
Yes.
You saw him a lot at Lucas Oil Stadium where he just had a career day against Zionsville. And he's going to be a handful in the secondary.
Yeah, and, you know, there's a reason why he's a Division I receiver. He is good. We're going to have to, you know, make sure we pay attention to him all the time. But I think another part of that puzzle with helping coverage is getting pressure on the quarterback. And, you know, the quarterback, we can't lose contain because he can run the ball. But we got to pressure him and disrupt some routes or at least pressure the quarterback.
New era in Indiana high school football, we go to Class 6A. For a lot of schools, and I was kind of looking over them during the week, for Avon, other than you're going to jump into sectionals in the sectional semifinal, it's almost business as usual. You're still facing the same 9 teams in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, and when sectionals come, boy, there's Brownsburg, Ben Davis, and Pike still staring you in the face.
Right. And, you know, we've matched up every year I've been here with one or two of those teams anyway, if not 3 of them. So, you know, it doesn't change for us. The only thing that really changes is, you know, you win the first game of the tournament, and now you're playing for a sectional championship. You know, it's a little bit easier to achieve a sectional championship by number of games. Now, the opponents are going to be difficult. Don't get me wrong. But I think it does open up some different opportunities because, you know, if you're playing well at the end of the year and you're healthy, then, you know, you like your
chances to moving on are very good. Now, the schedule just came out this past week, and we learned Class 6A will get a week off. It won't come until the week before the championship game, but it does kind of keep you ahead of the rest of the schools as far as marquee matchups every week.
Yeah, and I think that will be one interesting fact is that there's going to be some dandy games to get out and see, and it'll be treated kind of like the Super Bowl. You know, where you got a week off to prepare and get healthy. So who knows? That may be a great thing.
Of course, sectionals, we'll talk about that on down the road. Right now, it's Hoosier Crossroads Conference time. And as you mentioned, all 9 schools, you play everybody every week. Of all the schools, you've got a fair amount of them that went to 6A. And, you know, you take a look at this conference, and year in and year out, it's still one of the toughest conferences to play in.
I believe so. You know, especially like what we've said in the past, when every game you got to be ready to play. You can't get a night off and you know, have a non-conference game where you have a chance to screw up and be okay. You got to win every week.
Coach, you brought a special player here for our College Prospects of America Player of the Week. Why don't you tell me who we're going to talk to today?
Well, Jake Higginbotham, as I mentioned earlier, is the leader of our offensive line, leader in the weight room. He's our strongest player we have on the team, did very well in the Ben Davis lift contest, 3-year starter. The first 2 years he started at guard, and we moved him to center because he knew we needed a good anchor to take over for Chase when he left. And Jake has done a tremendous job, and you know, we really look forward to watching him be able to play this year.
All right, that is the head coach of the Avon Orioles, Mr. Mark Bless. Coach, good luck this Friday. We'll see you out there Friday night at Hamilton Southeastern.
Very good. Thank you, Brian.
All right, when we come back, we will have Jake Higginbotham as the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show continues. On August 24th, come celebrate the grand reopening of the McDonald's off Raceway Road in Avon, located at 10747 East US 36. That's right in front of Meyer. There will be huge giveaways, including 100 coupons for both free Egg McMuffins and free Big Macs for a year. They will also have 49-cent ice cream cones all day long and be giving away a $1,000 scholarship. Also, don't miss Ronald McDonald himself at 1:30. So come on out on August 24th to celebrate the grand reopening of the McDonald's in front of Meyer off Raceway Road in Avon. Are you interested in playing a sport at the collegiate level? College Prospects of Central Indiana can help you achieve this dream. Right now, thousands of college coaches are searching for athletes, but lack the resources to find them. This includes Division I, II, and III, as well as NAIA and junior colleges. College Prospects can help both male and female student athletes get the best education at the best price that allows them to continue participating in a sport they love. We do this through maximum exposure, providing you with essential tools, video, and unlimited personal guidance during the recruiting process. For complete details on all of our services, ask your local representatives, Bill Verhonick, Megan Egenolf, Joe Palizzi, or Rusty Dimer. You can also visit our website at www.collegeprospectsofcentralindiana.com or contact us at 317-650-4339. We also offer services for gifted students looking for the best fit in academics as well. College Prospects of America can help you achieve your dreams. Since 1984, BMO Harris Bank has grown to become one of the largest banks in the Midwest, serving personal, commercial, and affluent customers. Located locally at 610 West Northfield Drive in Brownsburg, we thank them for their sponsorship of the Hendricks County Coaches Show. Welcome back to the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show. I'm your host, Brian Scott. We are at the Avon McDonald's at 267 in Rockville Road. I'm joined now by the College Prospects of America Athlete of the Week, and it's Jake Higginbotham. He's a 3-year starter, 5'11", 275 pounds, and his head coach Mark Bless mentioned you're going to make the move from, I believe, left guard to center.
Yeah, I'm making the move from left guard to center. Last year played left guard, and this year we needed an anchor for center, so just moved down to solidify the line and get some leadership from the center.
You've been playing offensive line your whole career?
Yes, I have played offensive line since 6th grade and a little bit of defensive line as well.
So you've been good guard, tackle, and you played center, I'd take it before?
Just one time before this year, but yes, I have.
It's a little different when that guy's sitting there behind you waiting for the ball, huh?
Yeah, you got to get it off a little bit quicker.
You've played, and last year they said you made a lot of pancakes, and we're not talking about making them on Sunday mornings either. A lot of pancake blocks. What do you do? What do you like to do when you're coming off of the ball?
I just like to get off as quick as possible and get into them and just get the technique down. Coach JJ's been teaching us, and just play like we've been taught.
Coach Bless said, as a senior, a lot of the stuff that goes on during the off season, you've got coaches there in the weight room and to run and all that. But a lot of times it comes down to the seniors that make sure that those underclassmen get there and take care of things.
Yeah, it's a big leadership role for when you're a senior in the weight room. We take pride in being one of the strongest teams in the state, and Coach Blue will make sure you get there. But the seniors are a big part in the weight room and on the field, making sure the underclassmen step up and know their roles.
Now, moving to center, you're also going to have probably a bigger role, of course, offensively, not only snapping the ball, of course, making sure it gets back to your quarterback, but making sure all your line calls and making sure you can point out who's coming where.
Yeah, last year it was kind of like on one side and make some calls, but this year you got to look both directions and get the whole line set and even make some adjustments to the line and the backfield.
So you've been playing, you said, since 6th grade?
I've been playing line since 6th grade. I've been playing since about 2nd grade, though.
2nd grade. Now, have you been playing anything else other than football your entire life, or you just look at that pigskin and say, that's all I want?
I'll play basketball, but then I got a little too big for that. So football's it since then.
Now, you've, as a senior, you're one of those that have been, as I talked to Coach Bless as this show got underway, the Orioles have been to 4 straight sectional championships. Of course, you've been around for one of them. Guess you'd like to see that extend this year and then put one of those under your belt.
Yeah, sectional championship is always one of our goals. We believe we can do it every year, and once the state tournament time comes around, that's the first goal at hand.
Of course, look at the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. I'm sure Coach Bless says that's your first goal, want to win the conference. Very, very tough competition, and you'll have a pretty big challenge coming up on Friday against Hamilton Southeastern.
Yeah, we've got a big challenge at hand, but we're confident in what we can do, and we've got a game plan set up this week. We have a great week of practice, so we're ready.
Excited to get under those lights on Friday night.
Yeah, missed it.
All righty. That is our College Prospects of America Player of the Week, senior offensive lineman Jake Higginbotham. Jake, good luck this Friday, and we'll see you at Hamilton Southeastern.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Jake. We are going to take a little break here, and we're going to bring in our College Prospects of America. If I can find her, she is over there somewhere. Megan Egenolf, we're going to let her slip in here as she will be sponsoring the College Prospects of America Player of the Week. Megan, glad you could join us here on the McDonald's Hendricks County Coaches Show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. College Prospects of America, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys do?
What we do is we actually help high school student athletes who want to go play a sport in college, market themselves to college coaches. Kids who, have the ability and have the desire, both academically and athletically. We put them in touch with colleges all across the country. We do this through massive exposure. Basically, we help put a profile together for them, tell the coach they are interested in playing in college, and send that profile to all the schools they would be eligible to play at. We do have a pretty good success rate of kids enrolled in our program who do continue that sport in college and help with that financial burden of college tuition.
Now, when you talk about colleges, I think one of the things you had mentioned, and one of your things, of course, for sponsoring the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show, is there are a lot of colleges that look for kids, and they just sometimes don't have all the resources to find them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. A lot of smaller schools, Division II, Division III, NAIA, so many great schools out there who offer kids money. They just don't know about athletes. They don't have the budget, the resources, the time. You think about their season, they're busy with their own team, practices, that sort of thing. They can't go very far to scout. There may be a perfectly good athlete, from out of state who would want to come to their school. They don't know about them. So that's what we help kids do, help them market to all of these schools who could be a great fit for them athletically and academically.
If somebody wants to get in contact with your company and your group, how do they do that?
Well, there's a couple of ways. You can contact one of our local representatives. So myself, Bill Verhonik is also with our group, and a couple of others. Our phone numbers are actually listed on our website as well. So if you visit www.collegeprospectsofcentralindiana.com, you can find all of our contact information there, or simply just fill out a questionnaire there on the website, and we'll get in touch with you.
Megan, we greatly appreciate you sponsoring the Athlete of the Week and sponsor of the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show. Thanks a lot for coming by.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That's Megan Egenolf from College Prospects of America as they sponsor the College Prospects of America Athlete of the Week. Brian Scott here. It's the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show, and I am pleased to be joined by Mr. Brad Holsinger, the athletic director of Avon High School. How you doing?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Did you get an off season? You don't ever get an off season,
Oh,
do you?
I took some time off. Got away from the office, but with emails going on the phone and voicemail and all that, it's hard to get away. But it's good. It's good.
You got there's a lot of people that they only see you come Friday night at the football games, driving around in a golf cart, and when things go wrong, they see you scurry madly I think some of the things, there were some questions that were asked of me last year, especially when last year was kind of weird, in which we had several Friday nights where games were postponed and we got moved to Saturday. And then there's a lot of people that ask, well, why don't they just play it Saturday at 7? Why are we coming back at 10? Why is it taking them so long to do this and that? There's a lot that goes on when one of those situations is happening, and you're right in the middle of it.
Absolutely, and last year was a tough year with Mother Nature in terms of the fall and the spring. Our revenue was down almost $20,000 from 2 years ago, so I feel the hurt. But there's a lot of decisions going on. You try to get the coaches involved, you get the ADs involved. I think last year when we had one of our postponements, what people didn't realize is we had a big band contest the next night, and they have 30, 40 bands coming in, so it's hard to say, hey, we're going to take the field and play when they have something going on, and it's a major moneymaker for them. But there's a lot of decisions that go into it, and my goal is to have everything prepared and planned ahead of time, and have the different scenarios and have a plan B, plan C, plan D, and whatever it takes to get it done. But what people don't realize too is that you've got a very small window to get those games in, because once you get into the next week, it screws up your game for the following week, and with the practices and getting kids healthy and just preparing for the next opponent. So, I'm hoping this fall is, 70 and sunny every Friday night and clear skies, and we have a great season. Or at least it only rains on the road.
It only rains. Yeah, there you go. Of course, a big part of your job, as you said, you got big revenue generators. And when the weather kind of is the way it was last year, we had the drought coming in, and fortunately for Avon, of course, artificial turf. You didn't have that much problem with the football field. I remember coming out there early season, though, and looking at the baseball and softball fields and saying, will they ever be the same? But a lot of what you do is getting the revenue, and it's because there's a lot of stuff going on at Avon High School athletically.
Absolutely, and what sometimes people don't realize with the spring is we try to get those games in, but if the officials show up and the ticket taker shows up and the announcer shows up, you're kind of expected to pay them. So, if we're going to play the game, we like to make sure that the weather looks good. Not to mention all the bags of product and Diamond Dry and whatever else they're throwing on the fields to make it playable. It can get awful costly.
Of course, football, a lot of people see the sponsors, and of course, we'd like to thank a lot of those sponsors that will allow us to bring you Avon High School football this season on audiosportsonline.net. But you've got a lot of other sports going on, and they all need a little help, too.
Oh, absolutely. And I brought some notes here just because of we have a lot going on. But first of all, for our boys and girls cross country team starting this Saturday, and are excited. Our girls team is ranked 8th in the state currently, and our boys are 22nd. Our girls golf team started the season by winning the county championship for the second year in a row, and they're getting some honorable mention votes. Our girls soccer team is currently ranked 5th and beat McCutcheon 5-0 Monday night, and they have their first home match next Monday against number 3 Zionsville. Boys soccer is also ranked number 5, and they get a tough test tomorrow night at home versus number 13 Hamilton Southeastern. And our volleyball are last year's state champions have a tough go here. They are playing Hamilton Southeastern tomorrow night, and then Saturday they play the number 1 team in the nation, Assumption from Kentucky, and then next Tuesday playing number 10 in the nation, Carmel. So things are getting started. Boys tennis last night swept Noblesville 5-0, and so we're hitting the ground running here. It's time to get going.
You talk about the volleyball, the defending state champions, Coach Scott McQueen. He's done a fantastic job with that program, and a lot of high expectations for it this year as well. Absolutely.
I guess they started out a little slow last night. From talking to a couple of girls, they were a little nervous, and not nervous necessarily, but just anxious and ready to go, and had to scale it down a couple notches, but end up beating Center Grove. But the expectations are high, and I know Scott will work with the team, get them better as they go throughout the season, and get them ready for another tournament run.
Now, for those that want to come out to Avon High School, whether to see football, baseball, soccer, whatever the season, whatever the sport, I'm sure you've got passes and tickets and all that type of stuff. How do they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. Well, they can just stop in the athletic office. I think we've got some of the best deals in the state here. For $140, a family can get passes for themselves and their kids, and that's good for every home athletic event. We charge $5 for most events and $3 for the others. And as I tell parents and families, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. So, money's tight, but it is good for all the events, and hopefully they take advantage of that. And our students, they get passes for $30, and if they just go to athletic events this week, they'll have it paid off by the end of the week. But, you can just stop in the athletic office or call one of the athletic secretaries at 544-5045, and they'll take care of you.
We talk about going to the games. How about sponsorship opportunities for any of the Avon athletic events?
Well, I just came from our Sports Boosters meeting, and this year we had over $38,000 in sponsorship, and we're just getting ready to wrap up our fall program. Not sure when this is going to be on the air, but if you can get with us by Friday, I'm sure we can find a spot for you. But, we have different levels of sponsorship, anywhere from $250 to $2,500, and, that really helps out. Our Sports Boosters donate $20,000 to the athletic department each year, and we earmark that money for the kids, and with meal money and buying patches and awards and flowers for our parents on senior night, and then they also give out $1,500 scholarships each year. So they do a great job in donating that money to the athletic department. But if anyone has an idea for a sponsor or sponsorship, I'm sure we can find a spot for them.
That is the Avon High School Athletic Director, Brad Holsinger. You just heard from him and tell you how to get into what should be a fantastic football season. And, of course, as we mentioned, defending volleyball state champion, and a lot of great athletics going on at Avon High School.
Great. I also just want to say, if you need to find the schedules, you can just go on one of the coaches' web pages at avon-schools.org, and the schedules are right there. So hopefully you can make your way out.
Brad, pleasure having you on the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show. We look forward to seeing you again very soon.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
All right, we're going to take one more break here, and then we are going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen coming up on this Friday night as the 2013 high school football season gets underway. This is the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show. On August 24th, come celebrate the grand reopening of the McDonald's off Raceway Road in Avon, located at 10747 East US 36. That's right in front of Meyer. There will be huge giveaways, including 100 coupons for both free Egg McMuffins and free Big Macs for a year. They will also have 49-cent ice cream cones all day long and be giving away a $1,000 scholarship. Also, don't miss Ronald McDonald himself at 1:30. So come on out on August 24th to celebrate the grand reopening of the McDonald's in front of Meyer off Raceway Road in Avon. Are you interested in playing a sport at the collegiate level? College Prospects of Central Indiana can help you achieve this dream. Right now, thousands of college coaches are searching for athletes but lack the resources to find them. This includes Division I, II, and III, as well as NAIA and junior colleges. College Prospects can help both male and female student athletes get the best education at the best price that allows them to continue participating in a sport they love. We do this through maximum exposure, providing you with essential tools, video, and unlimited personal guidance during the recruiting process. For complete details on all of our services, ask your local representatives, Bill Verhonick, Megan Egenolf, Joe Palizzi, or Rusty Dimer. You can also visit our website at www.collegeprospectsofcentralindiana.com or contact us at 317-650-4339. We also offer services for gifted students looking for the best fit in academics as well. College Prospects of America can help you achieve your dreams. Since 1984, BMO Harris Bank has grown to become one of the largest banks in the Midwest, serving personal, commercial, and affluent customers. Located locally at 610 West Northfield Drive in Brownsburg, we thank them for their sponsorship of the Hendricks County Coaches Show. Welcome back to the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show on audiosportsonline.net and also on 1610 AM XRB in Brownsburg and xrbradio.com on the web. Don't forget, you can join us every Wednesday at McDonald's. Next week, we are going to be in Brownsburg at the McDonald's on Main Street, where Brownsburg head football coach Brett Comer will join us. Also, new Brownsburg athletic director Kelly Wagner will also join us. That's next week at the McDonald's in Brownsburg on Main Street. Yours truly will be back out there. Glad you could join us for tonight's show. We just had Mark Bless, the head coach of the Avon Oriole football team, offensive lineman Jake Higginbotham, and we just spoke with athletic director Brad Holsinger as the 2013 football season will get underway on Friday night. Matter of fact, let's tell you about what's happening here in Hendricks County with football on Friday night. We just mentioned, for the Avon Orioles, they'll have a tough matchup. The Orioles came into the preseason ranked number 17 in the new Class 6A, and they'll take on the number 9 ranked in Class 6A Hamilton Southeastern Royals. For the Avon Orioles, they won last year on the last-second Niles Edwards field goal. For head coach Mark Bless, first time in 4 previous tries, that the Orioles had defeated Hamilton Southeastern. Don't think the Royals have forgotten about that. It should be a dandy game out at Hamilton Southeastern. We'll have that game for you right here on audiosportsonline.net. I will be calling many of the Avon Oriole games this year, and I will be joined for all the home games and even the home opener by the Indiana Football Hall of Famer and former Avon Oriole head coach, Mr. Dave Shelbourne. So Coach will be with me Friday night for the season opener between the Orioles and the Royals. And for Coach Mark Bless, this is his 4th year at the helm of the Avon Orioles. He has a record of 26-11. The Brownsburg Bulldogs will open up at home. They will take on the McCutcheon Mavericks in a brand new field out in Brownsburg, Bill Estes Ford Field at Roark Stadium. The Bulldogs, for years having that natural surface over there at Roark Stadium this year, as Brad Holsinger kind of mentioned, weather wasn't too kind for a lot of schools last season with a lot of heavy rain, and the Bulldogs moved to an artificial surface. They will have their first tryout of that surface this Friday night when the 12th ranked in Class 6A Bulldogs take on the 15th ranked in Class 5A McCutcheon Mavericks. The Mavericks doing a better job. They've been steadily improving, and now with the split between 5A and 6A, the Mavericks find themselves ranked 15th in Class 5A. They will take on the Bulldogs on Friday night. The Bulldogs won this game last year up at McCutcheon by the score of 36-9. The head coach of the Bulldogs, of course, in his 8th year is Brett Comer with a record of 46-30. The Bulldogs are the defending Hoosier Crossroads Conference champions. They went 9-0 in the regular season last year, only to lose to Zionsville and a bit of a bittersweet ending to their season in the sectional opener. The Plainfield Quakers will travel to Columbus North. Columbus North making the jump to 6A, so this is a 4A versus 6A matchup. The head coach of the Quakers is Brian Woodard. He's in his 8th year at the helm of Plainfield, a very nice 50-28 record. The Quakers last year started 3-0, but eventually they've dropped their final 3 games, bowing out in the opening round of sectionals. The New Palestine Dragons, they will travel to play Danville. Russ Sumner in his 3rd year at the helm of the Warriors. He has a record of 12-9. If you have not watched the Warriors play, they can be a very entertaining team to watch. They play a lot of a philosophy of not kicking very often. They go for it on 4th down quite often. They can be a very fun team to watch, do a lot of onside kick. Last year, the Warriors won their final 6 regular season games after starting 1-2. They lost, though, in the sectional opener, but they lost to the eventual 3A state champion, Bishop Chittard. Tri-West will be hosting the West Lafayette Red Devils as the Bruins look to avenge a 9-7 loss last season. Chris Cole is the head coach of the Bruins in his 8th year. He has a record of 39-33. And the Bruins, very, very impressive last season after they made the jump from 2A to 3A, going 8-3 in their first season in Class 3A. And the Cascade Cadets, they will travel to Crawfordsville to take on the Athenians. Cascade fell to Crawfordsville last year at Cascade by the score 27-7. Head coach of the Cadets is Jason Thompson. He's in his 2nd year at the helm of Cascade. As we mentioned earlier, of course, for Avon as well as Brownsburg, both teams making the jump to Class 6A. This past offseason, it was decided that 5A would be split in half. The top 32 teams, 32 schools by enrollment would be moved into the new Class 6A, of which Avon and Brownsburg find themselves in this new class. The HCC well represented in Class 6A in the rankings. Fishers is ranked number 8 in Class 6A, followed by Hamilton Southeastern. That is Avon's opponent on Friday night. Southeastern, the Royals, ranked 9th. And then Brownsburg is currently ranked 12th in the AP Class 6A poll, and Avon is ranked 17th. 4 teams from the Hoosier Crossroads Conference in that Class 6A poll, though if you might want to take a look, if you're looking at the Metropolitan Interscholastic Conference, that's an 8-team league. They have 7 teams in the Class 6A poll. Very, very impressive for the MIC Conference. And up at the top of the preseason poll is Lawrence Central, followed by Carmel, Ben Davis, Center Grove, Warren, and Pike. So when you take a look at the sectionals, both for Avon and Brownsburg, there you see 2 of the other leaders that could be contenders for an Indiana State championship in both Pike and Ben Davis. They're at the top of the 6A rankings. When you take a look in Class 5A, you will find a few more Hoosier Crossroads Conference schools. You've got Zionsville currently ranked number 4 in the HCC in Class 5A. McCutcheon is ranked 15th, and Westfield comes in ranked 19th in Class 5A. Taking a look around some of the other classes, you're not going to find a whole lot of the Hendricks County schools other than Tri-West. They are ranked 7th in Class 3A. So a lot of great football coming up on Friday as we take a look here in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, as it will be Avon, of course, at Hamilton Southeastern. That game, all these games will kick off at 7 o'clock. Fishers is at Noblesville. Harrison is at Westfield. Lafayette Jefferson is at Zionsville. And McCutcheon is at Brownsburg. Some of the things to look for this year in the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, Fishers, again, looks to be a very, very strong team. They had a bit of a gave Hamilton Southeastern a bit of a shock last year when they went into the sectional championship game. A highly touted game, and it was Fishers coming away in a rout of Hamilton Southeastern. Don't think the Royals haven't forgotten about that one. But Fishers, again, looks to be strong. Brownsburg is the defending Hoosier Crossroads Conference champion, and as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be talking with Bulldogs head coach Brett Comer next week at the Brownsburg McDonald's out on Main Street. Want to remind everybody that you can watch a video podcast of the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show that is done every Thursday. We tape these shows on Wednesday, and then we have the podcast up for you on Thursday at audiosportsonline.net. Go to the home page, look up the McDonald's Sports Show, click on the link. You'll find the podcast right there. You can also listen to a replay every Friday night from 5:30 to 6:30. That is on 1610 AM XRB in Brownsburg and on xrbradio.com. That is pretty much worldwide, so you can listen to it at any time. Some of my thoughts as we start this new 2013 football season. One of the things I kind of touched on with Coach Bless was that while we do see the new 6A, a lot of the schools in central Indiana, you will not see a big change in who they play, and in fact, a lot of where there's sectionals. When you get outside central Indiana, there are some big changes. Zionsville has Richmond now in their sectional. They also, for Zionsville, it was kind of a nice thing to get out of, stay in 5A. They get out of the same sectional that had the Orioles and the Bulldogs and the Giants and the Red Devils. However, they get Bishop Chatard, who not Bishop Chatard. They ended up with Cathedral making the jump into 5A. And for Zionsville, the Eagles, well, that's where they're going to have to play. They're going to have to maybe face Cathedral in a 5A sectional game. So the Eagles, maybe a little bit easier road to haul, but they still would have to go through Cathedral to get to a possible sectional championship and move on to regionals. For the Bulldogs, the Brownsburg, and the Avon Orioles, as I talked with Coach Bless, not a whole lot of changes. You're still facing the same 9 schools that you face every single year. You just kind of alternate where you play. And for both schools, well, Ben Davis and Pike, they're old friends as far as sectionals go, so that will be something that really won't change. The one big change, as Coach Bless mentioned, sectionals will begin the same week that all sectionals begin, but for the 6A schools, you will start in the sectional semifinals. So that means 1 game and you are in the sectional championship game rather than having to play 2 games to get there. That also puts the 6A schools on a bit of a schedule to where their championship games are always a week ahead of the rest of the classes as we move on to the state finals. What happens when you get to the state finals? Well, the 2 6A schools, they'll catch a break. They'll get a bye week. They'll have an extra week of preparation for that state championship game, which will be done through the Thanksgiving Day weekend. 6 games to play, 3 on one day, 3 on another. Both and all those games will be played at Lucas Oil Stadium in downtown Indianapolis. So a lot of excitement coming up for the 2013 football season. For those of you listening on 1610 AM XRB and XRBradio.com, don't forget, coming up in just a little bit, you will be able to watch and listen to Brownsburg Bulldogs football. This year, Troy Weimer, Christopher Worley, Justin Hobbs, they will have the call for the Bulldogs games this season. And if you are an Avon Oriole fan, well, you'll catch me and former coach Dave Shelbourne will have the call for most of the Avon Oriole action. Pre-game for the Orioles and the Hamilton Southeastern Royals, that will begin at 6:45 Friday night. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock. And don't forget, you can also follow the Plainfield Quakers right here on on XRBradio.com. Go to the XRB homepage, look at sports, and find the Plainfield Quakers link. We'll have a full schedule of Plainfield Quaker football as the coach Brian Woodard and his Quakers take to the field also on Friday night, except they're going to have a little bit of road as they have to travel to Columbus North. Want to again thank my guests on tonight's edition of the Hendricks County Sports Show. It was Avon football head coach Mark Bless. Offensive lineman Jake Higginbotham was the College Prospects of America Athlete of the Week. And this special thanks to Brad Holsinger as the Avon High School Athletic Director stopped by, letting us know what some of the other sports we're doing. And again, even though it's football season, make sure you go out and support your local school, both in Brownsburg and in Avon and across Hendricks County. A lot of other things going on, a lot of other sports besides football, but it all kicks off on the football side this Friday night as the 2013 season gets underway. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. My name is Brian Scott. Hope you enjoyed our first edition of the 2013 season of the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show. Next week, as I mentioned, we will be at the Brownsburg McDonald's on Main Street. We'll tape the show from 7 to 8. My guest will be Brownsburg football head coach Brett Comer, Brownsburg athletic director Kelly Wagner. Also, we will have our athlete of the week. Until then, we want to thank our sponsors of the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show. Of course, our title sponsor, McDonald's, College Prospects of America, and BMO Harris Bank. Until next time, so long, everybody.